for two. Kickers are extra, I give them the boot. Ooh, going for two. Sit back, relax while I grab me a brew. Ooh, now I'm reclining while putting my time and I'm ready to go. My spine is aligning and much my lineups, my bank account grow. I am so rich, but knowledge is all that I'm leaving it with. Ooh, listen to this. Multiple options, how far can I get? Ooh, DFS Dynasty redraft tonight, I'm not finishing last. I'm finishing past any and all, I am looking to last. What else? This spot is popping and I am so locked in and only opening the door when it is opportunity knocking. And all of these spots keep on talking and talking. So what are we talking? What kind of alignment? And running it deep, even players forgotten or came from the bottom or hitting that top end. And this spot is popping, yeah, this spot is popping. And woo, this is the armchair, yeah. Put up your arms, yeah. Sound the alarm, yeah, yeah, yeah. Woo. This is the armchair, yeah. Put up your arms, yeah. Sound the alarm, yeah, yeah, yeah. Ooh.
Day 2 on Going for 2 Live. Here's the Going for 2 Live NFL Draft stream. We're going to be covering rounds 2 and 3 today. I'm your host, kicking off the Day 2 stream megathon, Kyle Senra, at Senra Says. And glad to be joined by a couple of great people, great contributors to the Going for 2 family. First off, Dylan Schmittler. You've joined us for a few live streams in the past. You contributed a few things to Going for 2. So Dylan from Spunky Spectrum Sports, welcome.
Hey fellas, thanks for the invite, Kyle. And by the way, I'm glad that my team generated a few headlines with all moves last night.
Yeah, maybe the shocking move of the draft, which we'll get to in a minute. But also glad to be joined by my Sunday morning co-host. We host here on the Sunday morning Going for 2 live streams during the NFL season. And happy to have Topher Kurt here to contribute during the draft. Topher, glad to talk to you. I love most of what I'm seeing as the background.
Yeah, I think. Oh, I'm trying to figure this out. I mean, this is what I have to say. This is all. I mean, I'm just gonna sit here the rest of the time, except that my apparently my green screen is not hiding, my virtual background is not hiding my Packers wall art in the back, and everything else is hidden. So I'm going to take
like
that.
It should be part of it, right? This logo's already there. So like the green screen's confused. It's green. It's Green Bay.
I love it.
Make a fantasy football pick. And yes, we are a fantasy football channel here at Going for 2. So we're going to focus on the fantasy football implications of these draft picks. And the second round of the draft kicks off in like another hour. So we've got a whole hour to kind of to think about what's happened in the first round and maybe some expectations going forward. So as always, be sure to subscribe to the Going for 2 Live channel on YouTube. We're also stream on Facebook. And I don't know if this will be, these probably won't be turned to audio podcasts, but for most of the time, these Going for 2 live streams will be audio podcasts. So subscribe to Going for 2.
You also want to see our faces.
Yeah, of course. So subscribe anywhere you can to Going for 2 Live. Check out goingfor2.com as well. We got Going for 2 Discord, which a lot of content there. And if you want to join us here live on YouTube, feel free to, and you can interact with us, leave comments, just like Topher and I's other co-host, Jamie.
My dude. Hi, buddy.
So, Jamie's still working. He was on last night, and we had a live round 1 live stream, of course, but. You can check that out from yesterday. A lot of Geoff kicked it off, of course. Thank you, Geoff Lambert, the creator and our overlord here at Going for 2. Gives us the platform to have such great shows and for me to meet people like Topher, for instance. Appreciate Geoff for that. Check out their stuff from yesterday. Jamie saying Topher, yo, dude. And then also, what's up, Dylan? Nothing for Kyle, but to be fair, Jamie and I talk all the time, so there's nothing special. It's just Kyle. Gerson's here, and he will be joining tomorrow. I believe, Dylan, you'll also be joining me tomorrow on the Day 3 live stream. We're already previewing tomorrow, so. But we still have so much to get to from yesterday. But that's the draft weekend extravaganza here.
Oh, absolutely.
Again, join us in the live stream. where we can reunite, right? Jamie misses Gerson. I mean, I miss Gerson too. I can't wait to talk to him tomorrow. So it's it'll be fantastic. How Dylan? We'll start with you just in general. How did you enjoy the first round of the draft yesterday? Or did you? Did you absolutely hate it? Maybe if that too, you can say that. But, how was the draft for you yesterday?
I mean, I bet you should do a Sanders in the first round more than a few of us last night.
Yeah. That'll be the story going into this. Pretty sure Dylan's not in that league, Jamie. But thanks anyway, Jamie. Trying to be the assistant commissioner of the league. That's great.
Trying to help out wherever you can.
Yeah,
Love
Dylan,
that.
You're not.
Wait a minute, Jamie. I thought you were. Wait a minute, Jamie. I thought you were a Cleveland Browns fan.
I mean, he is, but he also, I think he hates the Browns, which is probably also what most fans think anyway. When you see that, just because it's draft day. Anyone watched the movie Draft Day recently or ever?
Oh, absolutely. I like it more than the hate that it gets. I do. It's not like, award winning, but it's definitely not worth all the hate that it gets, I believe.
Not like the hate Shedeur Sanders has gotten from a lot of people, including Jamie and apparently Gerson, because Gerson's here saying, miss everyone. Raiders pick Janty, baby. Let's go. You didn't say let's go, but I didn't know how to say flame emoji. I guess I could have just said flame emoji.
Hey, Garrett, what if the Raiders took Shedeur tonight?
Well, at least it's a second round pick. At least it didn't prevent them from getting Ashton Genty, right? But Gerson called Dart going ahead of Sanders. I mean, if anyone, as well as my contributions to going for two, I'm part of Fantasy Six Pack, and where I co-host with Jamie on the Dynasty Six Pack, and we ranked quarterbacks. And Jamie had Dart not only ahead of Sanders, actually as his QB1 before the draft. So he said it right there. I almost didn't need to say it, but I will talk unnecessarily anyway. But Dart was his QB1 before the draft, and now that he's gone in the first round, I imagine it's probably the case in spite of Winston and Wilson being there ahead of him on the Giants. And then Gerson also watches draft day. But anyway, all I was going to say was the scene, like right as the picks announced, they pan to like some of the fans in the crowd booing, and then like I guess a bar in Cleveland somewhere full of Browns fans, and they're just distraught, like, oh my God, what has happened? And it feels like that's probably actual live footage of Browns fans, and it could be taken at any point in any bar in Cleveland. At any point the Browns do anything, that's probably Cleveland Browns fans' reaction. So it's a very genuine scene. That's probably the most realistic part of the movie, is how distraught the Browns fans are. Sorry, Topher, I just want to interrupt 1 second because I want to bring in our last guest for this segment, Ryan Miner from the Absolute Auction podcast. Damn it, I knew that and I tried to make it better, but absolute blast to have you on, Ryan.
Thanks for having me on, man. Sorry,
we can't hear you.
Had some technical difficulties getting in, so I had to back in. I had to exit out multiple times and come back in. I'm like, man, what avatar do I want to use? I'm like, I don't want to use Avatar.
Airbender or the Dave Cameron movie? No. I'm sure Topher loves that joke. That seems like that's up to Topher.
I got it. I knew what you were doing, and I appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you. Appreciate that we have fantasy football players to talk about.
Yes.
So I guess Ryan, just what was your draft experience like yesterday? Did you enjoy watching the first round?
I'd say the first round was kind of boring. Like we all do our own mocks. We all try to see, how close we can get. And like the excitement was, the second overall pick with the huge trade for Travis Hunter. And then after that, it just kind of like stalled. Like, okay, we kind of knew what was going to happen. And now it's just like, man, this is kind of boring draft. Like, there's no like excitement. There's no trades. And then I'm like dozing off. And it wasn't until like in the pick 20, in the 20s where trades started happening again and excitement started coming in. And then my Lions picked at 28. So that was a long wait, but it was well worth it.
Darn Lions having success. Don't you just
Right.
hate it, Topher?
Right? The worst.
Well, was
Hey,
yesterday
you guys
the
got
worst for
Matthew
you,
Golden,
Topher?
so he can't be too bad.
I'm hoping not.
Well, how was your draft day yesterday, Topher?
I I was reading up and I saw that the betting odds for Ashton Genty and Tet McMillan had really like swayed in a way where Tet was going to go 10 and Genty was going to go 5, and it like leaned, and I saw people talking about it, how it leaned towards like a Bears Jags trade between 5 and 10. So when I saw that there was a Jaguars trade, I was like, okay, Vegas knew what was up, and Vegas, in fact, did not know what was up. And so, yeah, but that's kind of the fun of it, you know. You knew what the first 4 picks were kind of going to be. I wondered if Kelvin Banks was going to switch with Will Campbell. But otherwise, you know, it's not like anybody went too early. I thought Colson Loveland over Tyler Warren was interesting, but like they're close enough. They're close enough, and you know they're both going to be picked in the early half of the first half of the draft. So I don't think there's a big difference there. There were, you know, some players that I was surprised Jalen Walker fell all the way to 15. And a lot of non-skill players going in this first round. Like not a whole lot of fantasy relevant guys happening, which is okay because sometimes your draft is, you know, it's about the trenches. So it was interesting to see, you know, what people would do, like watching Broncos take a cornerback rather than Amari Hampton, and then Amari Hampton going to the Chargers, you know, 2 picks later, you know, little things like that. Because a lot of teams had been like, oh, this is like, a lot of draft experts and people were saying this team's going to go this position for sure. And obviously that's never the case. So, so it was interesting. I was surprised at how little trades there were up until the very end. I thought we'd get, you know, somebody in the teens to trade out, but there wasn't anybody that I felt like people wanted to reach for. You know, you kind of knew who your top 10 players were, and then it was just kind of like, okay, we'll see what happens from there. So
I keep thinking like I'm listening to a lot of Daniel Jeremiah lately, and he kind of was hammering the point that there's maybe only 6 elite players in this draft. 1 was a running back and 2 were tight ends, and those aren't like highly coveted positions. So really, from like a draft perspective, there are really only 3 elite prospects, which makes sense why we saw one of those trades immediately with the Jaguars trading up for Travis Hunter, and because that was one of those like highly coveted elite prospects. It was it was just 2 if you count just Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter, and Cam Ward was the closest to an elite quarterback, so he went in that elite quarterback price range. But yeah, it was all about those 3 players, and they were the first 3 taken. So probably no shock there. Just a little surprised at what the team ended up being. I mean, even like I think back to the live stream last night, Geoff and his guest Justin. I think it was just those 2 on when the trade happened, and not like almost immediately. Like we're 10 minutes into the draft, and we already get this massive trade. They were all expecting to still be Ashton Genty with all the rumors of Genty. Like the Jags were trading up to 2 for Genty. So I guess no one saw Hunter going to the Jags, even though we all kind of expected Hunter to be a top 5 pick. So yeah, I guess Dylan, as the Jaguars fan, it's probably like one of the biggest points discussion from the first round in terms of takeaway. What did you think about the Jaguars? First off, trading for Travis Hunter, and talk about more of like a Jags fan, real NFL perspective, and then we'll get to the fantasy implications of Travis Hunter, which I imagine will be a lengthy and fun discussion.
Honestly, I thought the Jags would do something. You know, for a long time I was thinking Mason Graham, but the last day or so going into the first one, I'm like, the Jags want to get Trevor a pass catcher. Thinking it's McMillan, then I'm like, could they get Hunter? And then I'm like, And then all of a sudden it started more information from Lucini and Rappaport that the Jags want the number 2 pick. And then literally when Rappaport said blockbuster, the Jaguars getting the number 2 pick, I mean, I'm like, yeah, I went, yes, because the Jags in many ways have never gotten this kind of talented piece. I'm not sure if there's been a player in recent time who could be a Pro Bowl wide receiver and a shutdown corner. Maybe Champ Bailey or Antonio Cromartie if either guy would have played both ways. And we're going to see if Travis Hunter could be the Shohei Ohtani of the NFL. I mean, players played both ways 80, 90 years ago when Kyle was growing up. So maybe we're going old school, new school in a way.
I do have a lot of gray in my beard, don't I? Yeah. I always talk about Don Hudson as well. So you'd figure I'd have watched football in the 30s and 40s. But yeah, up till basically like the end of World War II, like in the late 40s, 50s, that's when we started seeing the players just concentrating on one side or the other. Up until that point, because at that point, the economy was so good, like NFL teams could afford to pay what we now view as an entire roster as opposed to just paying like 15, 20 guys. But yeah, I guess Ryan, a heads up for you. Apparently, Jamie wants an invite into your rookie mock article if you're doing that again this year. And if you are, this is a great chance to plug it. Thank you, Jamie,
yeah. What's up, Jamie? No, I didn't want to interrupt and say hey to Jamie, but hey, Jamie. Jamie's I'm planning on doing it this next week. I was actually looking at possibly doing it this weekend, start getting the names together of people who want to get involved and start kicking off next week because we know a lot of people are going to be excited about it and everyone's going to want multiple inputs. And the way I always like to do it is I like to do myself and 11 other people because if I do it myself, it's just my mindset. But if I get 11 other minds in there, it's like an NFL draft, basically. You know, it's 11 other GMs trying to look at it and see what's going on. But yeah,
like would be in your rookie drafts when you're drafting.
Yep, exactly. And I do like a lot of the rookie mocks for Face Off Sports Network, and I can tell you already, players are moving around. I've been seeing mocks going on right now, and players are definitely shifting quite a bit, especially Shedeur Sanders.
yeah, imagine that. And,
but Dylan, I have a quick question for Dylan before we move on, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So I like the trade that the Browns did and the Jaguars did to get Travis Hunter, but the draft capital that was given up they move up 3 picks. The Jaguars do. They give up their first round pick next year, the 36th overall pick today, and the 126th overall pick in the 4th round. Don't you think that's quite a bit just for a wide receiver? Don't you think that'd be more like for a quarterback?
You know what? No.
Just because of multiple pick swaps too?
I mean, if there's a guy you want, the price is there to be paid. I mean, I remember when the Atlanta Falcons traded 2 1s and a bunch of other picks for Julio Jones, and Julio Jones was an amazing wide receiver for a better part of a decade. But I think it's not how many picks you get, it's what you do with those picks, and the Cleveland Browns flubbed all those picks.
That's true.
Just bank on that, but I mean, and maybe it's also banking the way the Jaguars have drafted. Maybe they wouldn't also maximize those picks either. So it's better served. Let's get a true can't miss prospect that might almost cover 2 positions.
Yeah,
but it feels like in this draft, it made more sense to trade up for Travis Hunter than it did for a quarterback. Again, it seems like if you took away the fact that Cam Ward was a quarterback, he's probably not going first overall. Now, no. I know he's still probably a top 10 pick, but Hunter Carter discussion for first overall would be, there would have been real legitimacy to that if Cam Ward didn't exist as a quarterback. So that's the world we live in. And yeah, the world we live in is that we're streaming before the draft. So we are starting this stream early, but yeah, you're not late for the draft or we haven't missed anything. We're still just recapping the first round. Glad to have you on. Glad to be here. Glad for the support. Glad for the comments. I guess, Dylan, I also have a question for you regarding the Jags. In the moment before the pick was announced, when the trade up happened, who did you think the Jags were trading up for?
I knew 1,000,000% the Jags were going to get Travis Hunter. Don't give up 2 1s or 2 and something else for Ashton Jeanty. It was going to be Travis Hunter, without a doubt.
I would have been shocked if it was Jeanty. I was pretty certain it was Hunter as well. I thought there was a chance though they might trade up for Abdul Carter if they really thought. I mean, because I think back to the right after the Super Bowl, if mock drafts were being done, a lot of them had Abdul Carter as the first overall pick to the Titans. A lot of people viewed him just as the best overall prospect. And if Hunter couldn't play both ways, I have a feeling Carter would have been that guy. So I thought if the Jags really thought of him that strong, I thought there was a chance he might also be the guy they trade up for. But yeah, sorry, no offense to Geoff and Justin when they were talking, but they seemed pretty convinced it was for Jeanty. And I was watching like, I don't know about this, guys. Hunter to me seems like if they're trading up for anyone, it's probably him. But yeah, I guess now the Travis Hunter discussion, what position does he play? Because he plays multiple positions. So we'll Dylan, what do you think? Do you think he's going to legit be a two-way player, or do you think he's going to focus primarily on one?
I think Hunter will be more of a full-time wide receiver, maybe chipping in, third down nickel packages on defense.
Okay, so wide receiver first, which for us, for fantasy purposes, that's what we want, because that's where he's going to score a lot more points. Topher, what do you think? Do you have any type of guess on what you think the Jaguars are going to do with this?
Oh, I think they will. They'll keep him at wide receiver, kind of more full time, and then sprinkle him in at cornerback. But I think he's going to be a bigger offensive weapon than a defensive weapon. I think that's what they need, and I don't think you trade up to number 2 to get somebody that's going to primarily play cornerback for you. That's my thought.
I mean, I think back to Jalen Ramsey, right? They spent I think it was a top 5 pick on Jalen Ramsey, and that turned out to be a good decision, and they got a lot of good years out of Ramsey.
Yeah, that's true. That's very.
But it also
true.
wasn't a trade. That was just they were just naturally that bad to pick in the top 5.
Correct.
I guess. And I guess I look at the depth chart and just what is more needed for them. And I think that's a legit question because they have probably a lot of needs. But Ryan, what do you think? Do you think you see it like Topher and Dylan that Hunter's going to be a wide receiver first?
I see. Yeah, he'll be a wide receiver first, but I can see him definitely being sprinkled in. I see probably 80-20 wide receiver to defensive back because at the same time, the Jags still do need defensive help. So I can see him sprinkling him in there depending on what type of package it is or who it is. Like Dylan already said, it could be the nickel package or something like that, but he won't be like how he was at Colorado. He won't be playing over 1,000 snaps in the season.
Oh God, no.
But I mean, like, he's going to be a solid wide receiver 2 for them across from Brian Thomas. And he already complained about it before getting drafted that he wants to play both sides of the ball. But I think he's going to realize that the NFL level is going to be a lot more complicated for him because you're not going against Big 12 teams anymore. You're going against real everyday players now. So he'll probably stick more to the wide receiver and dabble just a little bit in the corner.
Take this as a massive grain of salt, but I know when I'm looking for depth chart stuff, I look at our lads, and they've already got like the first round rookies updated. Our lads has Travis Hunter listed as a wide receiver, but they also have him on the cornerback depth chart. He's listed as a starting receiver. He's listed as one of the backup corners. So they've got right now the starting offense, or the starting lineup according to our lads would be Brian Thomas Jr., Travis Hunter, and Diami Brown as the 3 primary receivers. If they have Hunter actually playing the slot. Again, all that could change. Like there's the Jags probably don't even know exactly how they're going to use it yet. Their final decision's probably going to be made in training camp. But looking at cornerback, they've got Tyson Campbell and Jerry Jones as the outside corners, with Jordan Lewis as the starting nickel corner, with Hunter being a backup boundary corner. So, I mean, our lad seems to think, like what you guys are saying is true. It's wide receiver is first and foremost. Considering you've got the franchise quarterback in Trevor Lawrence, this does seem like a huge boost to him. Having Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter, that's 2 elite weapons. Like that's going to help your quarterback out. Obviously, who's playing cornerback is probably not going to help Lawrence out directly. It can help the team win. But yeah, if it's all about the development of Trevor Lawrence being the most important thing for the Jags franchise, then the most important thing you could do with Travis Hunter is let Trevor Lawrence use him as much as possible. That sounded awful. Let Trevor Lawrence target him as much as possible. Let him run as many routes as he can on offense. That's what we want to see for fans.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now that we've kind of discussed that, where do we think he should go in rookie drafts?
That is a very good question. I think
I kind of have my answers because I have thought about this a lot, and I know if anyone's listened to the Dynasty Six Pack, I don't know anyone who's been like more pro Travis Hunter being an early top of the rookie board pick than Jamie and I's co-host Rahul Natarajan, also from Going for Two. We love Going for Two live, and he's had Travis Hunter as his wide receiver one the entire time, saying he's a legit shot to be the 102 in rookie drafts. In Superflex leagues, the more time goes on, the more I'm getting sold at Cam Ward being that top pick, that 102, with Genty, of course, going 101. I think Travis Hunter is in this next tier of 3 through 5 between him, Tetra McMillan, and Amarian Hampton. I think I would. I know Jamie's saying Hunter above Tet and Cam Ward. So and I don't think that's a wrong answer to just say Travis Hunter is the 102. So I'm kind of debating. I think 105 is probably the latest he should go. But I also expect enough fear he might go later. We'll see.
I think it really comes down to the build of what your team needs are. Because, if you're in a super flex league, but you're at the 102, but you don't need that, that quarterback position, then Hunter or Tet is somebody you take. You need that quarterback position at the 101, 102, you run with Cam Ward. So I think it's always subjective to what your league does, what the scoring is, all that stuff. But I think Hunter is right up there. I don't think you stray away from him, especially with, there was, wide receiver wise, there was just, Hunter, Tet, Egpuka, why can I say it right now? And Golden.
And Golden.
Yeah, and Golden. And you know that
sorry, who is that? Topher, who's this Golden? This green Golden? You can't point him out at all, can you?
No. He's not in the room with me at all. He's right behind me, isn't he? But I think that I think you're not going to take Egbuka that high right now because you have Evans and Godwin ahead of him. You have BTJ, but you have nothing else with Hunter. With Tet, you got Leggett, but that already proved that he'll be fine, but he's not going to do like they clearly took a wide receiver at 8 in Carolina because they need it. And Jalen Coker isn't going to do everything that they want. So it would be really hard for me to not take Hunter in my top 4, my top 5, at least, if not earlier, just because of how the draft has fallen so far. If you need running backs, I could see Hampton, but they just signed Najee Harris, who's had 4 straight seasons of 1,000 yards. He's not going to be bell cow. It's going to be a bit of a split backfield, I believe. Even if he is the leader of it, they're not going to pull a Montgomery Gibbs. They might want to, but it's not going to happen.
Hey, they inside the red zone, they ran enough that they could do that. They were 3-5. They're just taking the ball out of Herbert's hand. I wrote this in my article for Fantasy Six Pack. They had the 4th fewest passing plays inside the opponent's.
Oh wow!
They were just pounded up the middle, and that was with J.K. Dobbins. Is pretty good. That includes a lot of rush attempts to Gus Edwards and the other backups they had there.
So you proved me wrong. I appreciate it.
I could see it being that type of touchdown thing. I think the one thing that's scary for Hampton is Najee Harris has never missed a game in his career. He's played 16, 17 games every season of his career. So trying to bank on an injury. I guess the good news for Hampton is that it's just a 1-year contract. So that it's, maybe you're envisioning Hampton's best season being 2026 as opposed to 2025.
Yeah. So,
top 5 in rookie draft seems, again, you and I think that's where it should go.
Yeah, Hunter is definitely there. I think that Golden is behind him, but Golden also can become the wide receiver 1. He's going to become the wide receiver 1 on that team. The Packers they don't take him without imagining that, because they're littered with wide receiver 2s.
Just because they want him to do that doesn't mean he will.
That's hey, stick with the hope. Stick with the hope, but that's
man. This off season, it's tough to have hope with the Packers. I'm pretty disappointed with everything they've done this off season. So of course, I'd be disappointed with their first round pick. Like, it just par for the course this year. Goodigans, way to go.
Yeah,
I've been wrong in the past, so I hope I am.
Yeah, but we thought Jaden Reed was going to be it. We thought Christian Watson was going to be it, but they took their first round capital and finally said something with it. So I think the Packers are really confident that Golden will be their wide receiver 1. I don't. It only
took them 23 years to get a wide receiver 1 in the first round. So
yeah, they kept hoping for a Devontae Adams resurgence, and it just wasn't happening.
I mean, I'm a Packers fan who's loved the fact that they haven't reached on wide receivers in the first round because they haven't needed to. They've been so successful at taking second round shots at receivers that. Like, the first round is how you're getting impact defensive players like Kenny Clark, like Jair Alexander. Those are the guys that truly transform the franchise. Now, my justification was that Aaron Rodgers doesn't need first round wide receivers. What you need is to build as solid a defense around him, so that is what gives you the best team possible, because he will elevate receivers to their possible ceiling. And again, they were so good at identifying second round receivers. Why would you ever take a first round shot? Jordan Love isn't Aaron Rodgers, so he does need all the help he can get. So that's where maybe we do now have to spend first round pick. I mean, this isn't Ted Thompson anymore either, right? It's not like Gutekunst has been the GM for all 23 of those years.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been there since 2018, I think, 2017.
Yeah.
So he's had enough time. So he has continued the tradition of not taking first round receivers. But I think also pretty successfully getting those second rounders. And I don't know. I think Matthew Golden is hard pressed to be better than Jaden Reed, based on what we've seen from Jaden Reed, based on both their prospect profiles. I mean, college production isn't even close. Like, Jaden Reed was a much better producer than I didn't like the Golden pick. And this wasn't supposed to be a Golden discussion, but the Packers fans, the first instant we just had to monopolize this. But Ryan, where do you think Travis Hunter should go after all this Matthew Golden talk?
Sorry, I talked a lot.
I mean, it's hard to say exactly where Hunter's going to go, because there's still running backs out there who could actually shift this. Travion Henderson's still out there, Quinshon Judkins, Caleb Johnson's out there. A lot of people's favorite player, Cam Scadaboo, is out there. Devin Neal. There's still landing spots that can happen. That's also going to shift it. So that being said, with what we know now, I've seen 2 mocks already ran, and Hunter's gone 107. So, I mean, he's still top 10, but like you said, I can see him shifting up, especially now. Like, a lot of people, if there's more as they pay attention, they can see him shifting up, but I can see him also shifting back here where he's at, because he's not going to be that alpha wide receiver 1. He's going to be a complementary piece to Brian Thomas, which is why I think he'll fall a little bit in drafts compared to someone like, we don't know where Luther Burton is going yet. Ted McMillan fits for sure easily one of the number 2 or number 3 pick, however you want to look at that. So at least I'd be looking at Hunter at least pick 4 going from there. But I'm in love with the Omarion Hampton. I love the landing spot. So he's easily my slam dunk 102 to me, because back when Harbaugh coached at Michigan, Omarion Hampton was a running back he actually recruited, and he chose North Carolina over Michigan. So what better piece than to go ahead and say, all right, you know what? I couldn't get him in college. I'm going to get him in the pros now.
I mean, I was hearing about – go ahead, Dylan. Sorry.
I mean, I just love the Chargers pick. It's like, sign Najee Harris. Oh, wait, we'll get Omarion Hampton and just bully ball you.
Yeah, it could be a Thunder and Lightning combo that they have here.
Almost like what you guys do in Detroit.
Yes. Well, it's exactly what Michigan has always run. They always ran a 2-back system. You know, it wasn't always just Blake Corum running the ball and scoring the touchdowns. It was him and Donovan Edwards. Last year it was Khalil Mullins and Donovan Edwards. So the 2-back system wasn't just something that the Lions did. It's a lot of things that Michigan did that Harbaugh implemented more to just keep everyone fresh, keep the legs moving.
J.K. Dobbins' rookie season. I mean, he was the lead back, but he had almost Gus Edwards had almost as many carries as.
Yeah, but he had a resurgence. You know, like Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins had a nice resurgence where they were both valuable RB2s this last season for us. So
back with Greg Roman again, right? So yeah, no, like Greg Roman himself has done in the past. Harbaugh's done in the past. So of course, the two of them together would have that type of system. The one thing I was hearing a lot was, you know, more the expectation the Chargers would go wide receiver in the first round to give Justin Herbert help. I think Hampton counts as that help. He could end up being second on the team in targets. We've seen Herbert give Austin Eckler that type of opportunity before. And I think Hampton's that same type of pass catcher. So look for him to, again, potentially be second on the team in targets. And even so that way, even if Najee Harris is getting close to as many carries as him, that pass catching upside with Hampton could really allow him to shine even in a split back. So yeah, that's why I'm hesitant to say, like, I think I would still take Hampton above Hunter and even McMillan, but that's where you're deciding between, again, do you like your quarterback or your favorite receiver? I've liked Tet ahead of Hunter the whole time, and I think Trevor Lawrence is a better quarterback than Bryce Young, but not better enough to think that like it shifts things for like Hunter versus McMillan. Like, yeah, 6 spots difference in the draft is one thing, but they both were first rounders, both top 10 picks. So who had the better production profile in college? It is McMillan. So I'm sticking with McMillan ahead of Hunter. So that's why I'm thinking Hunter at the 105. I think makes sense. I guess I'm also greedily asking about that range because I don't know about you guys, but I've kind of identified my most important draft pick isn't necessarily my highest, but it's in a salary cap contract league. So Brian instantly laughs because he knows how much I'm addicted to those.
yes,
And I've got the 106. So, I mean, I think if Hunter falls there, I'm probably going to take him. But it's also something, again, we'll see what other running backs are available. Because it's the fun of salary cap contract leagues. I can say this. I literally only have Christian McCaffrey and Dylan Labe under contract. So whether it's in the draft or in free agent auction, I'm going to have to address running back. But I still feel like because there's the auction, unlike, say, a Dynasty league where, okay, you have your team, you can always trade for players, but the rookie draft is really the only way to significantly add. That's where you might reach at a position really that the team needs. But in the salary cap contract format, there's still so much unknown that I really don't want to just pigeonhole myself. And just because I need a running back, I'm going to force the issue at 106. So yeah, it's one of those things where, like you said, Ryan, Hunter might fall to 107 or even further in some mocks. I'm going to be, and Jamie will participate in this as well. So even if, I was going to say, like, even if you can't get Jamie in your mock, Ryan, he's in my mock that I'm writing for Fantasy Six Pack. So Jamie just loves to mock.
No, he does.
We're not going to mock him for it at all either.
But also, I've also come to learn too, like when it comes to rookie drafts, I don't grab someone I need unless someone actually wants that position that bad. I try to trade that spot away. Like if someone wants a quarterback like Cam Ward, and I don't need another quarterback, it's like I'm not going to pass it up, but I'm going to try to force that guy to trade with me and give me some picks into 2026 to move up just to get Cam Ward, and I'll drop down and I'll grab another player I want. Because I've come to find out, like, if I draft what I need, I suck. If I draft best player available, I have a trade piece or a piece that actually helps build my team to become better. So that was definitely a learning curve I had to actually take, and it's still hard to me because I always want to say, like, I want this player, but this is the best player available. I'm taking this guy instead.
So, apparently this is sad. Apparently this
Yeah.
draft pick there, his mother died shortly after he was drafted. But yeah, no, that's kind of a downer. Well, not kind of. It's very much a downer.
That's very downer. Yeah,
I'd say that at least she got to see her son drafted, being like the only silver lining in that. But yeah, Jamie is saying draft for value, not trade for need, which is a good.
Yes, that's a very good point.
He's saying, like, with the top of the draft, he's still taking Hampton 102. So.
See, Jamie and I are on the same page, so Jamie knows what he's doing.
Dylan, we can't see you right now, but can you still hear us? Okay. I'm guessing you can't. Anyway, quick answer there. So
You don't want to be with the NFC North guys.
yeah, I know. We were kind of monopolizing that. I did want to go back because there were some other trades made. And Jamie, this comment here, that trade Chiefs-Eagles made absolutely no sense. Right at the end of the first round, the Eagles trade up for Jihad Campbell and again move up one spot to get him. And the Chiefs get Josh Simmons. And we kind of knew they needed a tackle. They traded away Joe Tooney. And even what we saw last year, man, Tooney is better as a guard than he is a tackle. So you figured even if they didn't trade away Joe Tooney, they'd still want to address the tackle position. So not shocking to see them take a tackle. Then you think, why would the Eagles trade up unless they thought the Chiefs were going to take Jihad Campbell? Clearly, the Eagles must have thought that. So I don't know.
Or that somebody, I think it was that there were other people called that somebody called the Eagles and said, "Hey, we want to trade up. We want to take your pick." And then they were like, "Oh shit! If we
are they going to?" And they might have made a good offer too. And like, oh man, if the Chiefs get that offer, they're maybe coming up and they're maybe taking our guy. And
exactly.
That's a good point. And there you go. Topher just explained it to both of us, Jamie. There's the answers. That now were they bluffing? Did the Chiefs do what the 49ers did to the Bears all those years ago?
Oh,
Mitch Trubisky and fake them out into trading up.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Because whenever you trade up, I'm not going to lie. I was surprised that it was only a fifth for one. It was the first round and they got an extra fifth. No, get a fourth. It's the end of the fifth. It's essentially a sixth round pick. Like, no. Chief, I was disappointed in the Chiefs. Like, you could have, they just beat you in a Super Bowl and you're going to get an end of the fifth for that? No way. Get their fourth, get their third next year. Like, send them your fifth this year and then take their third next year. Like, make something happen. It was a disappointing trade, to be honest.
Now,
especially for Campbell to fall to Philly. Like, no, we don't want him in Philly.
No, exactly. It's like we don't want Philly to keep being successful. We want them to stumble.
Yep, and Chiefs did nothing to hurt them. Nothing.
But I guess
they didn't in the Super Bowl.
I guess the word going around was that the Eagles were looking to trade up that whole entire time. Like, as soon as they got past pick 10 and 15, that's when they were really making the phone calls trying to move up, and no one was really like, they weren't willing to trade out of it. So this was the only way they were able to move up.
Yeah.
He was going at it for so long that, okay, fine, I'll give him a fifth just to move up one spot, just because I've been trying to trade up so much.
Yeah.
Trade up so bad.
Yeah.
Howie. Hey, I mean, if he's an amazing player, if Campbell's great, like you said, Topher, a fifth will be nothing, right? Like that's nothing to pay to get the player you want.
And the Chiefs need a lot of help, so why not just give him a fifth round pick? Like, yeah, we'll give you a fifth. You need help anyway, so we're gonna get our guy whatever it takes to get him. We'll get it to you.
Now, from a fantasy perspective, we've already hit on a few topics. It's already been 43 minutes. Wow, that's flawed. That's flawed. I swear that didn't feel like more than 20. But we haven't talked about tight ends yet, and apparently this is the first time in NFL history that 2 tight ends went in the first half of the draft, the first top 16 picks in the new 32-team format. So
that's impressive.
What are the thoughts about Colston Loveland on the Bears and Tyler Warren to the Colts?
I think it's weird that Loveland, that the Bears picked him. I'm not complaining, but I mean, they've also signed. They already had 4 tight ends on the roster. They add a 5th, and
he's significantly better than 3 of the 4. And
oh yes,
they clearly think he's better than Cole Kmet as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But is that really what your team needs? Like, you're telling me out of everything that they need a tight end? Like, I found it interesting, but it also tells me that they don't believe in their tight end room, even though they already have 4 tight ends on their team. They don't believe in it. You don't take a first round tight end without saying, screw the rest of you.
Now, Topher, you got to remember, this is the same team that chose, with Justin Fields on the roster, to just draft a different quarterback anyway. Right. So, they've done things that maybe don't make sense.
Well, yeah, they picked Mitch Trubisky. I mean, there's a whole litany of things. I grew up in a Bears household. I remember I was talking to my father My father was not watching the draft live. He had something going on, but I didn't realize that. And I called him when the Bears made the pick, and I just started laughing on the phone. And he goes, "Oh God, what happened?" I go, "You're not watching it live?" And he goes, "No way." And I go, "You need to call me when you hit play on your TiVo. You need to call me." And it is, that's just the life of being a Packers fan and Bears fans, is that Packers fans are going to laugh at the Bears fans for their choices. I think that Bears could have gone a number of different ways. And I think I'm happy for Colston Loveland. I think that he could have a great career, but I don't think it's the way that the Bears needed to go.
I hate to do this. I mean, I did it when they drafted Justin Fields and they made the DJ Moore trade, but I will give the Bears credit in what I was saying earlier about Jeremiah talking about the top 6 prospects in this class include the 2 tight ends. Like Colston Loveland is a top 6 overall prospect in this class.
Oh yeah.
And the Bears, I mean, clearly the Bears think he's better than Tyler Warren. I mean, you could have taken either of them and had that same justification of we're getting a potential top 5 player in this draft, and we're getting him at the 10th overall pick. We didn't have to trade up for him or anything, and we just kind of get it fall to our lap. In that sense, the Bears are just taking best available, and when you're picking that highly, that's probably what you should do. You shouldn't just, we're picking for need at 10th overall. Cowboys did. It's funny. The Cowboys are typically the team that doesn't do that. They usually just take best player overall, and everyone's like, "Oh man, they didn't need this position." Yeah, but he was the best player, so that's why they took him. That's we love to criticize Jerry Jones for a lot, but he's done really well at just taking the best players available, especially in the first round. It's shocking to see this year. I know, like on the live stream, Foss was flabbergasted that they reached for this guard at 12th overall.
I mean, but I think Booker's really good. He's the best. Isn't he the top guard by a long shot in this draft? And if they,
it's funny. That's not what Foss said. He thought there was a better guard actually.
Ooh, really?
Yeah, I can't remember who he said it was, but he had
Zabel.
Yeah, great Zabel.
Yeah, maybe Zabel.
Yeah, but that was, those were the only 2 drafted in the first round. There could be others. I don't know every draft prospect off the top of my head. But I think but everybody likes to jump on board and say, this is how this player's going to go, how they're going to fit. We could be sitting watching Colston Loveland pull a Brock Bowers and a Sam Laporta in their rookie year, and we could see that, and we could not like it. Now, I think Tyler Warren, speaking of the other tight end, I think Tyler Warren going to Indianapolis, this pick, a lot of the time it was Colston Loveland in mock drafts going to Indianapolis. And I think this is a place of need for them. I think Tyler Warren's going to help out with the run blocking and also being a great receiving option, that big body that, can pair really well with, even though Alec Pierce is really tall, he's really fast. He's not going to play the same way a tight end will. Josh Downs and those speedy guys or smaller guys, So I think Tyler Warren will do really well.
Who's the quarterback in Indianapolis?
Richardson or Jones, or I am waiting for them to draft Shedeur Sanders in the second round and
Jalen Milroe. They want Jalen Milroe so they can have him compete with Anthony Richardson.
Yes,
comparing 2 quarterbacks like
and then just draft Quinn Ewers in the 3rd or the 4th just to have a Russell Wilson, Seattle, Matt Flynn sort of battle. There's somebody else in that battle I remember. 3 quarterbacks just going for it. So I think they just, they should just make a Hunger Games out of it.
Tavares Jackson.
Yes, it was. Oh, that's been a long time since I've heard that name. Dang.
I don't remember the last time I've heard it. I just pulled that out of nowhere.
Hey, guys, I've got a question.
Sure, Dylan. Glad to have you back.
What the heck did you guys think of Atlanta trading for the Rams 26 pick last night? That felt weird.
Yeah, and they went after James Pierce Jr., right, the edge rusher. Of course, the Rams, anytime they can trade their first-round pick because they think there's way better value out there, they will do it. We've seen them do it time and time again.
Well, they got a 2026 first round pick, and you got to start looking for the Matthew Stafford replacement now.
Yeah.
And why not do it in 2026 where you can kind of bench him a little bit, groom him into that next quarterback for you?
Yeah, that's a good point. No, they still have their own pick from next year, so they've got
Exactly.
lots to
And they can move up.
Yeah.
Sure.
Absolutely.
And if they don't think Atlanta's going to be that good, then that's already you're setting yourself up pretty. That's funny. This is a year the Falcons weren't picking 8th overall for the 5th time in a row. Maybe they go back to that. Maybe the Rams are thinking that there's a likely chance this will be the 8th overall pick. So let's see what we can get there. Yeah, I think. So it seems like Pierce, good player, but it seems like there's maybe red flags about him with his profile. Is that kind of how I'm understanding? Like, it seemed like based on pure talent, him falling to 26th overall is actually quite a drop from where he should have gone based on just pure talent. But there's also maybe reasons why he fell. And I guess the Falcons clearly have maybe not no worries about it, but they probably view whatever those red flags are minimal relative to his talent. I mean, clearly, they wouldn't have given up their first next year if they didn't believe it. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
I think
the Falcons need edge rush help. It's other than quarterback, it's the most important thing. And if they think they've got their quarterback, it's probably the most important thing that they need to address about their team.
And they took Walker, and so that really, that front seven, especially after watching what Philly did with their front seven throughout the playoffs, like the dynamicness of that front seven is, gonna be something that makes a big difference in this league. And I think that's part of what Atlanta saw was we've got this guy that has blue chip talent because he was, he was mocked early on as a top 5 pick and lots of things came out. But if they can, use that talent alone to fix him, I think that can make a difference.
So, yeah, that's you left us speechless. That was such a good point.
I have my moments.
So Dylan, I know you asked this question. What did you think?
Honestly, I think that trade was more befuddling than Jacksonville's trade. I get the Jags moving for Hunter, but I think James White's a really good player, but character concerns, and he's not a big defensive lineman. Now, Raheem Morris, really good defensive guy, really good character guy. Maybe he'll get Pierce, but the Rams could get a quarterback in 26. Yeah.
I guess. Yeah, like I said, so we'll see what the. I think we all think it makes sense for the Rams. Like if you're that late of a pick, especially if you don't quite believe in any prospect at that point, go get a first next year. Give yourself all that flexibility. So it makes sense for the Rams. I mean, they made their first round pick last year with Verse, so they've gotten their fill of first round picks for probably another decade. So it's all just expendable. And unlike trading, usually they package them in big trades. Like they waited until the pick was on the clock. You know what? If we're going to trade this pick, maybe this is the best time to do it. And so is the pick in, Topher? Is that the commish coming down from the stage next to Matthew Golden?
No, that is my husband bringing me quesadillas and some alcohol.
Nice.
Both very important for the draft.
Yes, and a corgi.
Where'd you go? Not for eating. That's just for a company.
Oh God, no.
Sorry, that was a very morbid joke for dog lovers. Hello. I was kidding. We're not going to eat you, corgi. Don't worry.
Say hi. She can't hear you. Are you sniffing the mic?
Oh right, yeah. No headphones, of course.
Yep. They didn't fit her. Okay, she's over it.
Bye. That's the special grab. That's who's going to announce the Packers' next pick.
There you go.
Yeah, she wouldn't be the one. For a corgi, she is very shy and coy around strangers. However, our male corgi, Frank, he is. We call him a politician because he does a bunch of talking. And he just stands around and waits for other people to do everything for him. So he'll just bark at you and be like, "I want this done," and we're like, "We don't speak your language. Like, get it together." So I think he'd be great at it.
I can't understand most politicians anyway.
Yeah,
Dylan. One thing, do you understand why Colson Loveland was taken first instead of Tyler Warren? Because we were kind of just debating that a minute ago.
I know.
You know why? The Ben Johnson came from Detroit, and some guy named Sam Laporta's there.
Dylan has the correct answer.
Okay. Do they view him as like he's the same type of route runner mover that Laporta is, and
And Loveland's 3 years younger than Warren.
Oh wow, okay. So I think maybe more upside ceiling. But yeah, Jamie's comment here: the first time that 2 tight ends went in the same draft in the first half of the first round, so in the top 16 picks. And I guess so. That was going to lead me to my next question for everyone. Who would you draft first in a rookie draft?
Loveland.
Definitely Loveland.
Yeah, Loveland, because he's got the more established quarterback. He's got the more established offense. Even though he's going to probably be the third mouth to feed, it's still like.
I mean, I think Warren's going to be that anyway, too, right? Like, I mean, I don't think he's coming out and he's subduing Pittman and what Josh Downs did last year. So there's maybe more of a chance he surpasses them. Whereas if we see DJ Moore, and if Roman Dunze hits the way he's going to, like, it's going to be really tough to catch them.
What if Daniel Jones is starting for the Colts this year?
Yeah, that's the conundrum, right? It's funny because there's 2 parts of the team depth chart that are concerns. For Colson Loveland, the concern is that Cole Kmet's there. Is that just going to limit the number of routes he's going to have? He's just not going to have targets. I mean, maybe Ben Johnson wants to build through 2 tight ends, and he wants both of them on the field. That's maybe the best avenue for both. But that also means that he might run routes and not get targets on those routes. But while that's a concern, the quarterback depth chart is the concern for Warren. So I think it's what is more of a concern for you? It seems like everyone seems more concerned with the Colts quarterback. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm more concerned with the Colts quarterback, but also got to remember, like, Colston Loveland is Ben Johnson's pick. Cole Kmet was a previous regime's pick. And to be honest with you, Cole Kmet they can get out of Cole Kmet's contract next season. So after this season, he could be out. It'd just be a dead cap of $3.2 million.
Heck, they could cut him this year if they really wanted to. The dead cap's only 4.8. So if they absolutely wanted to, they could save. You could save almost it's like $6.8 million on the cap. Now at this point, you're probably just better off having Kmet. What is that $6.8 million going to do? Like, past free agency, who's out there that you could really use that to sign for? Maybe player bonuses, so it doesn't affect next year's cap. But for the most part,
you trade.
Yeah, but also it's also hard to like transition from college to pro when it comes to tight end position too. Yeah. So getting having that veteran presence there will probably help him more than like this benefit of trying to trade him, because then you're just throwing him out there.
I mean, we saw Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox in Buffalo.
Yeah, and Dalton Kincaid's still struggling, but he's getting better. But it's not that transition that everyone thought he was going to do.
Is that also been a quarterback concern? Not that Josh Allen's not a good quarterback, but that he's taking so many rushing touchdowns. How many of those drives could have potentially been Dalton Kincaid touchdowns? But they didn't because Josh Allen just ran it in himself, right?
Or James Cook, because he had 22 touchdowns? By the way, 55 seconds till the second round starts.
Yeah.
Boom.
Although they'll probably take the full 10 minutes on the first pick anyway, so we probably have an extra 10-minute buffer.
There we go.
But yeah, so I think we're all in agreement. Loveland ahead of Warren in rookie drafts. I'm pretty. So Dylan, to answer your question about Daniel Jones, my concern with Daniel Jones is that the only person it really helps going from Richardson to Daniel Jones is Jonathan Taylor. Because just more passing volume in general means more chances. Because Jonathan Taylor's going to be out in the field a ton of times, but if they're not dropbacks, then he has no chance to catch receptions. But just having more drop back opportunities is more opportunities to get dump offs for Jonathan Taylor. So it helps him with more potential targets and also less vulturing of touchdowns at the goal line. So more chance at receptions and more chances at touchdowns. That's really all we're after at running backs. You get the carries to kind of buffer in for the safe floor, but those are things that give those opportunities. So I think Taylor gets a boost with Daniel Jones. But the problem with Daniel Jones is that he doesn't throw enough touchdowns. He doesn't account for enough touchdowns to really help anyone else's ceiling any more than Richard. Like, players might get a bit better floor because there's more passing volume, but like I still don't love Tyler Warren with Daniel Jones throwing him the football. I still think
think-
the touchdowns are hard to come by.
I think what's his name? Why can't I think of it?
Which
I
player?
think
What's he looking at?
What team?
Wandale Robinson. I
Uh,
think Wandale Robinson is the perfect example of that because him and Malik
There's-
Neighbors were both top 10 in receiving targets and receptions. But, Wandale was running away with 35 to 45 yards a game with 11, targets and 9 receptions. Like
The new Jamison Crowder, folks.
yeah, but I think it's because of Daniel Jones. It's
I
not
say that'd be
that-
Josh Downs. That'd be a benefit to Josh Downs than anyone.
yeah,
But Daniel Jones.
but that's about it. I mean, so I think Colts are going to hurt until they've been hurting ever since Andrew Luck left.
Yeah, no, for sure. They've been chasing the 1 years, and they thought they had an answer with Richardson, but yeah, they still seem like they need an answer at quarterback. Which, I guess, in theory, they're going to try to address it, but not every team that tries to get a quarterback gets a quarterback. So just because they'll try to address it doesn't mean they will. I'm going back to Ryan's comment earlier. The Bears save $8.4 million by cutting Cole Kmet next year. That seems a lot easier to do than it is for the Colts to go and get another quarterback. Doesn't mean they won't, but again, back to the concern, right? The concern with Loveland is Cole Kmet's present. The concern with Warren is the quarterback room. It's a lot easier to see Loveland A, surpassing Cole Kmet, but B, them just getting rid of Cole Kmet a lot more easily than it is for the Colts to suddenly get this magical quarterback. So ultimately, and again, we'll have to see who goes in the second round and where players rank out. But I mean, for me, I'm not guaranteeing that Tyler Warren has to be a first round pick in rookie drafts just because he's a first round pick in NFL drafts. Like,
What are you doing?
if there's enough good players in the second round, I think it's very possible he falls to the second round of rookie drafts. And I was in a 1.75 tight end premium league. Well, I still am, but we had our rookie draft before the draft, the NFL draft, that is. And Tyler Warren was the 103. Ashton Genty, Cam Ward, Tyler Warren. And that pick is looking pretty bad now.
Wow, that's crazy.
So- what do you guys think happens early tonight? My guess is, it looks like the Browns either want to go maybe a Mason Taylor. I think the Texans go wide receiver. How early do the quarterbacks go? I'm hearing like David Shaw, the Louisville kid, could be the first guy off the board, which absolutely blows my mind, but that's either near or there. When does Travion Henderson come off the board?
I find it interesting.
Go for
Sorry,
it.
Dylan. But like with Henderson specifically, like could the Browns be that team that wants him? Could the Bears be that team that wants him? If they do, both teams have 2 picks in the top 10 of the second round. The Browns have 33 and 36. The Bears have 39 and 41. So those teams, if they feel like we really want Travion Henderson, but we're afraid of reaching on him in the second round, you justify it by we have another second round pick, so we can get that other blue chip player at maybe a more premium position. So it wouldn't shock me if Henderson goes to either of those 2 spots, just because of the doubled up nature of their picks.
Yeah.
Patriots were kind of talked about as a Genty landing spot, or could they be a Henderson spot? I don't know. I see that less. I feel like Vrabel's not going to want to. We saw them just prioritize the trenches, right? Like he might want to also prioritize the defensive line. So I could see them with a deep running back class waiting.
I agree with you on that one.
I think.
Do the Cowboys like him? Do the Cowboys at 44?
I think we see a lot of running backs in the first half. I think we see 3 or 4 in the first 16 picks.
Browns and Bears might both take quarterbacks or running backs.
Running
Or
backs.
maybe quarterbacks too. We've already seen the Bears draft a quarterback when they had one, so we wouldn't put it past them to do it again, right?
Yeah.
Now, here's a question. And we're going back to the Travis Hunter discussion, but glad to have you back here, Dylan, to talk about this from a Jags perspective. Can you see Hunter getting close to 10 touchdowns without it affecting Brian Thomas's production? And then, if so, Jamie's kind of arguing should both be top 12 wide receivers. I don't know if that's Dynasty or for redraft or maybe both.
I don't think Hunter's a top 12 right out of the blocks. I think top 20, top 25 would be reasonable, but I don't see Hunter as a top 12 wide receiver this year, especially if he's going to play both ways. I see Hunter top 20, top 25 potentially.
So last year, Brian Thomas had 10 touchdowns on 133 targets. Yeah, 12. You see, 1282 for 10 touchdowns. I feel like it's usually 155 scrimmage yards per touchdown. So I usually project touchdowns and target share for all players. Well, target share for the pass catchers, and touchdowns for every player. I have not done that yet, so I don't know kind of what to say.
Well, Browns are on the clock, y'all. Their top 3 needs are quarterback, wide receiver, and a running back. Think we get one of those?
Luther Burton's still available.
I think he's going to Houston.
Well, if Burton goes to Houston, I think that elevates him over certainly Warren, maybe even Loveland for me.
Maybe Golden.
Yeah, we were going to get to that. I was going to bring up that discussion. So 1282 is a little more, or for that type of yardage, he was expected to maybe get 8 touchdowns. So in theory, Brian Thomas overproduced his touchdown numbers last year. He got 10 instead of 8, so he just barely overproduced them. That could be enough to show that he's just really that good, and he is going to overproduce numbers. But maybe we were already expecting Thomas to not get double-digit touchdowns this year. Because 133 targets, he could in theory get higher than that. So maybe if it's just more volume, he gets to double-digit touchdowns that way. But could already maybe have seen him maybe getting less touchdowns, which leaves the door open. If Brian Thomas is still getting 1,200, 1,300 receiving yards and maybe only 6 touchdowns, that leaves the door open for Hunter to kind of be that touchdown guy and for both to be relevant. So I think to answer your question, Jamie, I think it is possible. Now a couple more Jamie comments here. So Loveland.
I love it, Jamie.
Loveland. Jamie's amazing. I love Jamie. Loveland would be the 3rd target in the offense, but Warren doesn't have much competition. Only issue is A-Rich completes only 50% of the passes. Yeah, my pushback on that is I think they're both number 3 in their offenses. I think both teams have 2 wide receivers that are going to be ahead of the tight ends in the pecking order. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Warren is that good that he overcomes that, and he is in fact better than Pittman and Downs. But based on what we've seen from those guys already in the NFL, I think it's tough to just assume Warren's going to do better. And Jamie's with, I think you said it, Dylan, maybe it was Ryan who said that Josh Downs is the one that's helped them, Daniel Jones. Yeah. So, and comparing Wan'Dale Robinson to Josh Downs, right? Browns should draft a new owner. Who do you prefer? The current owner, or do you want Anthony from draft day as your owner?
Give us Anthony from draft day.
Anthony. Absolutely.
Who else wears sunglasses everywhere else?
That's true. He might just have really like sensitive eyes, and that's why he does it. It's not for any cool status. It's just like my eyes hurt all the time.
Probably all the crying.
Well, that's the thing. His eyes probably hurt all the time because he's watching the Browns.
It's like, and it's funny too. Like if you look at that, we watched the movie. It was based on the 2014 NFL draft. You look at that season. The Browns went 7-9. So it's like, did Sonny Weaver lose his job after that then? Because, he got Mack, he got the running back, but they didn't perform. So what really happened?
But going from the first overall pick to 7-9 is growth. If they go, 4-12, 3-13, that's when you're like, this didn't pay off. But 7-9, I think it works. The pick is in Cleveland.
Old man Kyle has a story to share just before. When I was growing up in the 50s, when the Packers had a 1-win season in 1958, and then they had a 7-win season year 1 with Vince Lombardi. He won Coach of the Year. Never won Coach of the Year again, but then also won 5 championships. So
yeah,
leave that for what it is.
Got something like named after him too. I forget what it is.
It was a street in Green Bay.
That's what it is. Just a street in Green Bay. Okay, yeah.
There's definitely no NFL championship trophy named after him.
It's actually a back alley.
So, back alley. No lights.
All right,
Browns take a linebacker.
Yes, the pick is in. We are officially starting day 2, round 2 on the Going for Two live stream.
Linebacker from UCLA.
I don't know if I did that too many times. I guess I did. I interrupted Dylan. Sorry. But yes, Carson
Schwessinger. Schwe, like sweaty balls. Schwessinger.
Okay.
Wow.
Hey, as a choir director, I have to tell my kids how to pronounce things, and I'm pretty good.
Give them something to remember, right? They'll never forget it.
Exactly. Yep.
You gotta use the tongue correctly on it when you say it. Twist it just right.
I have to be careful on how I say, hey, let's
pronounce this like sweaty balls.
Well, not that. I do that. But it's like, hey, so you need to place your tongue here. And they're like, excuse me. I'm like, just stop.
Well, I mean, the other thing about singing is you don't necessarily pronounce vowels the same way when you're singing as you do when you're talking. So that's
Correct. Yeah. I tell that.
I am not a singer, or at least I can sing, just not well. But I have been in a choir before. So.
There you go.
For everyone else.
Hey, but it wasn't a solo act. You know, choirs are for everybody.
I've got a question, guys.
Sure,
go ahead.
It's an RDN.
You mentioned Travis Hunter a lot, but what does the Hunter move do for Trevor?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, this should raise, in theory, this is like a positive for Lawrence. Like, are we expecting a career year out of him now that he's got these two legit weapons? I guess his best season came when he would have been Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, Evan Ingram, like those three as the main three weapons. That was, I think, Lawrence's best year. I think they got in Calvin Ridley and it didn't go as well, right? So we've also seen them added and it didn't work as well, but maybe Hunter's different. They must think so. So I could see a career year from Lawrence this year.
A bounce back?
I just think like his best fantasy finish up to this point, I think is like QB 11 maybe.
Yeah.
Like is this a top 10 fantasy season for Lawrence? I think it's possible.
It should be. I mean, he's got such a value. Like you can get him as a bench piece now. You know, he's QB 18, 20ish range, and mostly everyone's ranks I've seen. So it's kind of like in auction you get him cheap too.
So I do have a question because I really think that this is a possibility. Does he become Derek Carr, where we are continually going? He had this really good season one time at band camp, and then never happened. You know, even though they're very different prospects. Oh, Texans take Jaden Higgins.
Iowa State. There we go.
Yeah.
And Seattle.
I love his production profile. This to me is, I mean, it's tough to say. I'll take him ahead of Ibuka and Golden, but based on production profile, you definitely take him ahead of Golden.
Big play receiver at Iowa State this year. And Seattle's on the clock now.
I feel like the Texans should have taken like an offensive lineman since they don't have any.
Yeah, they lost their line this year.
What did they do in round one?
They traded it away. That was the Jackson Dart trade from the Giants.
So this is their first pick is Jaden Higgins. I mean, they also needed receiver, right? They're running.
Yep.
Because you assume Tank Dell might not play at all this year. So you got Nico Collins, you got Christian Kirk for the 1 year. Then after that, it's John Mechie, Xavier Hutchinson. You're banking on one of those guys being like almost an every down starter. Definitely more comfortable. Now
I was so hopeful for John Mechie. So hopeful. I loved his tape. I loved his story. I loved all of it. And then here we are.
Yeah.
But Xavier Hutchinson is also an Iowa State wide receiver.
Interesting. Good pull there, Ryan. I had no idea where Xavier Hutchinson went to school. Actually, I had no idea where Jaden Higgins went to school. I just know the production.
Well, I do because I'm an Iowa fan and he went to Iowa State. And Iowa State actually has receivers sometimes, and University of Iowa never does.
They've been talking out the running backs, right? David Montgomery, Breece Hall.
Yeah, Iowa State's had some. Yeah, but TEU is, tight end university all the way. at
Iowa.
U of I.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And
So,
Michigan's
yeah,
kryptonite at night.
So the one thing that the Texans have done, I mean, yeah, they traded away Tunsil, but they brought in Cam Robinson, and it feels like that's a bit of a downgrade. But Cam Robinson's still like an average left tackle, whereas you'd consider like Tunsil like an above average left tackle. So you've dropped a little bit, but also Tunsil had a pretty big contract, so you have saved money in that sense. So at least, I mean, also the rumors are that Tunsil leaving isn't about play. Was there like a locker room thing where it just the dynamics didn't fit, or there was maybe fighting, and like it seemed like maybe behind the scenes there's a reason that they've just were completely trading away our offensive line and rebuilding. I mean, they didn't do that well last year, so when you have a position group perform that poorly, it's not the worst idea to just let's clean house and restart. Now Tunsil is most certainly the best piece on the line, so you might have been able to restart with everyone else and keep him, but is there non-football reasons that they traded him away to? So that's just, but I mean, even if that's the case, to your point, Ryan, they still probably need to long-term address the offensive line. So, yeah, Higgins. Does it feel like Higgins would have been there later in the second round for them?
Possibly, but I don't know. I mean, a lot of people were getting a lot of hype on Higgins, so he was going to go early. But I mean, I'm still surprised that he went over Luther Burden.
You know, I'm surprised a lot of receivers went over Luther Burden. I mean, I had Luther Burden as the wide receiver too before the draft, even in fantasy football purposes, of course, even ahead of Travis Hunter, though. I mean, his college production profile is insane. I mean, I think it was his year 19, his age 19 season, which I think would have been 2023, it's one of the most productive college seasons we've ever seen from a receiver. It was like 3.21 receiving yards per team pass attempt. Like this is like Marvin Harrison level, junior level, like we saw from last year. I mean, it's insanity. So as a Packers fan, I was very upset to see them go Matthew Golden ahead of Luther Burden.
There's still time. There's still time.
Yeah, they could take both, right? But like, I just the production's not even close between the two. Like, I think Burden's had a much better college career than Golden. Doesn't mean he's going to have a better NFL career, but I think the Packers are they're going for the traits. They're going for the fast guy. And
yeah,
I was very outspoken that Xavier Worthy wasn't just a fast guy. He had the college production to prove it was not just speed, but you get record-breaking speed with this production. That's insane. Like that's the type of receiver you take in the first round.
So who's the receiver that Seattle takes here? Because I think that they take
John Ross. He's just really fast, but not. So that's my fear with Golden.
I think they go defense.
You think that they traded up for defense?
Yeah.
Oh, the Seahawks trading up
safety.
Unless they have Sam Darnold at quarterback.
I think they traded up for Burden. I think
they go defense.
I think they're trading up for Shedeur. They have Sam Darnold as their quarterback. They can't really think we're banking it all on Sam Darnold and our whole franchise is on Sam
Darnold. Taking South Carolina safety Nick Amon-Ward.
Oh, wow.
He didn't allow any touchdowns last season.
Nice.
I didn't either.
Touche.
Now, my fantasy teams, the teams they played against, there was a lot of production against them, which is why I didn't win any championships. So those teams allowed a lot of touchdowns. But just to rant about Golden a little bit, because I can. Jamie's saying Golden makes a great Robin to an alpha wide receiver Batman, but now suddenly Golden needs to be Nightwing to take over. I'm still not convinced I don't think he's better than Jaden Reed, so I'm not convinced he's ever going to be like take over fully for Jaden Reed, even if the Packers want him to. They wanted Amari Rodgers to be a thing, and that's why they took him ahead of Amon-Ra St. Brown. Just because they want something doesn't mean it will happen.
Oh, yeah. But I think a lot of people were out on Amon-Ra. Obviously, he fell to the fourth.
Oh, for sure. The Titans took Daz Newsome ahead of him. Like the list of receivers.
The list goes on.
But with that,
hilarious.
Daz is such a cool name, like Amon-Ra as well. But Daz, like, ooh, like that's vibes alone.
Other than the top three in that draft, which those teams are probably happy with, Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, and Jalen Waddle. Those teams probably aren't thinking they made mistakes.
Yeah.
But every other team that took a receiver ahead of Amon-Ra has to be like, well, man, imagine the Ravens took Amon-Ra instead of Rashad Bateman.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
With Amon-Ra and Zay Flowers and Derrick Henry, and like that's what you give Lamar Jackson to operate with. So I don't know why
More
we're ranting
functional.
about Amon-Ra St. Brown. Actually, I know why, because we want to make Ryan feel happy that his team.
Thank you. Yeah, it makes me feel better.
Ryan, I've got a question. What did you think of the Lions taking the Ohio State defensive tackle last night?
It definitely filled a need, like, because DJ Reader's still coming off his injury, but this kind of gives it a nice rotational piece, and it keeps the defense rotating, so where guys won't wear out as fast. But I mean, he's got the burst off the line, he's got the speed off the line, he's quick, and just because he didn't get all the sacks doesn't mean he can't do it at the next level here. He's to be a run stuffer up the middle, and sure, Aaron Glenn was quite the run stuffer, but once that defense started falling apart, we weren't a run stuffing team anymore. Teams were able to run on us again. So this will kind of give us another rotational piece to kind of keep that defense building and going. Because the Lions are going to want to build, the way I see it is defensive line, offensive line. You're going to try to go back and forth with those two and go best player available at those positions.
That's why they've had success in the trenches, especially at the offensive line. That's been their whole offense and why they've shown success. So Campbell and that front office is going to continue that formula. Jamie, what did I say that was so wrong that you just had to come on to correct me?
No, pull up my comment. Who I want the Browns to take.
Sorry.
Oh, by the way, Jamie, the Browns are going to take an Ohio State running back now.
I know. That's why I hopped on. Judkins.
There you go.
They got
Right?
him.
Okay, so Jamie, normally on Sunday mornings, you are in a very poorly lit room, sitting 20,000 feet away from the camera, like ready to make a sketchy deal, like in a back alley, wearing a Browns jersey. Where is all of that? Like, I need to look at that. Took Judkins.
Yep. Yes, sir. But no, I'm at work now, so I can't stay. I just wanted to hop on and say, hell yeah. My prediction was right. I wanted Judkins. We got Judkins.
There you go.
Yeah. There we go. It's official. Jamie, you celebrated the pick. Now get out of here and get back to work. No, I'm just kidding.
All righty, man. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.
Talk to you later, Jamie.
By the way,
Jamie Crow.
How many people had Quinshon Jenkins going in front of Travion Henderson?
Right?
Nobody.
Some did. I think some did. There was some people had Judkins ranked as a better prospect than Henderson.
Those
I
people are drunk.
I didn't think they were that far off. I think like Judkins, I thought was a better like guy for contact balance. Like there were certain traits that he did better than Henderson. So I think if you had a specific skill set, like we're after a goal line back specifically, Judkins would make more sense for that in theory.
I thought Jenkins was the more downhill running back. Travion Henderson's got that Jahmyr Gibbs speed.
See, I didn't really see that on tape. Like he had actually a pretty low burst score for me. But I mean, Judkins had the higher relative athletic score too, so he ended up showing like a lot of really good burst and twitch. I think Henderson to me seemed like he was just the more well-rounded running back, like great at pass protection, great as a pass catcher. Like he's the do-it-all everything. Whereas Judkins had like specific traits that were better than Henderson, but from an overall profile, I did prefer Henderson as well. So it's not. I don't think it was super surprising because I think I did see some people that had Judkins ahead of him, but the consensus, and I think for all four of us, it seems like was that Henderson was the better back over Judkins. But it's also the Cleveland Browns, so who's to say that they never make mistakes ever? Even when they do something good, they just mess it up in the future anyway. They didn't fall into the Josh Rosen, Sam Darnold trap. They actually took Baker, which wasn't the best quarterback in the class, but it was far from the worst. It was you just couldn't take Josh Rosen. That was the one trap you had to avoid, and they succeeded, and they still just traded him away anyway. So that's the Browns. Sorry, Jamie.
I will tell you that my husband, he when people ask him if he likes football, he just says I'm a Baker Mayfield fan. So his first ever football jersey was, and is still only one, was Baker Mayfield jersey that I got him. He's originally from Oklahoma, so he's an OU fan, and so seeing Baker go, and he's like, "Oh, Miami traded up. Will Johnson's going here."
You think so?
Well, it seemed like their defense was what they needed to address. Unless you were going offensive line, like it makes.
Well, yeah,
sense
you got to protect Tua.
But there's
that's the only position on offense that makes sense to go. Right?
Yeah.
Is the line.
But I don't know if there's a offensive lineman that you trade up for right now.
And I mean, the way they've built their team and the way that they've built their offense, Tua's getting the ball out quickly. Like they've kind of, we're not going to prioritize the offensive line as much as other teams might. Like we view the wide receivers and cornerbacks as being more important than the offensive line and the tackles.
Yeah.
I mean,
but how many more concussions do you have before your quarterback's done? You know,
I don't necessarily think it's the right decision, but it seems like that's what they're doing. Right.
Is this Shador then?
No, I don't see him going to the third round now. Like I had him projected.
Wait. Hold up. Arizona guard Jonah, whatever his name is.
My feed is like just a little behind you. Then are you watching it live? Or are you seeing Ari Meirov's tweets 2 minutes before the pick comes in?
He's getting the inside information Dan the B League said had last night. That was the joke.
Yeah. Wow.
Jonah Savania.
Wow.
Jonah Savania.
Raiders got a third and a fourth for that.
Wow.
Boy,
I love that for them.
I don't get Miami trading draft picks.
Oh, offensive line, Ryan. There you go.
That would be one.
Yep.
So yeah.
I can never guess the player. Most of the time I guess the position. I'll be like, oh, it's going to be this guy. And I'm like, nope, not that one. The other one.
Hold on. Raiders trade 37, 143. Dolphins trade 48, 98, 135.
Well, yeah, Pete Carroll needs to build while he's still like kicking it because I mean he doesn't have that many more years left of coaching. I mean, he's 73.
Yep. So New England is on the clock now. What will the Patriots do?
While we're waiting for that, I do want to finish my rant here. And this stat that JB put, this is why I wanted Luther Burden on the Packers. Reed only plays 60% of the snaps, and most are in the slot.
Yep.
If they drafted Luther Burden, it looks like Burden would now become that slot receiver. And Topher, like watching Reed, whenever he's had to play on the outside or run downfield routes, he does it well. So I wanted them to take Burden, A, because I think Burden's just better than Golden. And B, if they took Burden, it would symbolize we're letting Reed play on the outside. We're going to utilize him.
Yes.
He is our true alpha, and we're going to utilize him in that way. But now they're just going to go back to what they've done in the past, right? That's why I hate the Golden pick, because it shows there's frustrating things about this offense that they're still just going to continue to trout out there. And that's why I've hated everything the Packers have done this offseason. They fumbled at free agency entirely. Oh, we have two great guards. You know what we should do? Let's break the bank on another guard just so we can move our elite all-pro level guard to center and hope he gives us the same level of play, which it's Jenkins, so I'm optimistic that he can. But if he's been that good of a guard, why not pay for a center that would cost you less than what you spent on Aaron Banks? And that's maybe an extra starter you could buy in free agency. Yeah. And Nate Hobbs, they're getting a nickel corner, and they seem to think Hobbs can play on the outside, even though he really hasn't in the NFL. Yeah. Now, just because he hasn't, I mean, it's the Raiders, right? We could totally see the Raiders doing tons of stuff that's wrong, and Hobbs is actually a great outside corner, which is that one I'm okay with if you really believe.
I liked the Hobbs signing. I really liked the Hobbs
I do too, if he can play on the outside. That's just the one question about it. If he can play on the outside, I like it because they've already got Javon Bullard, Evan Williams, Keyshawn Nixon. They've got a ton of guys that play that slot corner role already. Like Hobbs is probably not playing that role. With how Javon Bullard as a rookie came in last year and dominated in that role, why would they take him away from that? Why are you taking Javon Bullard off the field? So then that means Hobbs has to play outside. And I guess the other thing too is Jair Alexander getting traded. The more time goes on, the less I think that's going to happen. If it doesn't happen this round of the draft, I doubt they're. My God, could you imagine them doing it for a third rounder just for Gutekunst to mess up in the third round like he always does? That would just make my day, wouldn't it?
That'd be perfect.
Sorry, all to say, what the heck are you doing, Packers? And you do these things, and you just have to focus on creating this proposal to try and ban the tush push. Like that's what you chose to focus your energy on this offseason. Man, Green Bay, I love Jaden Daniels so much that I'm seriously close to just saying I'm a Commanders fan. So, you better not piss me off more, Packers.
Oh, good Lord.
Piss them off, Packers. Piss them off.
By the way, the Commanders and Packers play each other this year.
There you go. You get two jerseys and sew it together.
I mean, I'm just banking on those Jaden Daniels fantasy points. I couldn't care less the result of that game.
Oh, good Lord. You're not a true Packers fan.
No, I'm a true fantasy fan. If they want me to be a true Packers fan, they maybe don't have to piss me off all the time.
So what's going to happen? What's going to happen here? New England on the clock, then the Bears are at 39.
I mean, if you're New England, you've got
Burden.
your left tackle to protect Drake May. Luther Burden's right there for you. You give him that alpha target.
Yep.
Or you know what? Or you know what? Maybe the Patriots decide, you know what? We'll take Travion Henderson.
There was rumors they wanted Genty, right? And so I don't think Travion's better than Ramondre. So that's the one thing is that
you're basically
Ramondre
one
is,
B.
at this point, Ramondre is probably better than any running back in the draft. Now the only difference is you
I
have to
don't
pay
agree
him.
with that.
It's better to have the rookie running back on the rookie contract, but I think just skill set wise. But I've always been higher on Ramondre. I mean, I was the guy that was saying like pre-draft, Ramondre was a top 3 running back in that class. It was Najee, it was Kylan Hill, and then it was Ramondre. But like I thought Ramondre is better than Trevor Etienne and Trevor, whatever Etienne. I thought he was better than Javonte Williams. So I've always been above consensus on Ramondre, and I will apparently continue to be so. At this point, I think the only running back that to me is better just pure film is Devin Neal. And maybe I think Scadaboo would have had a really close grade to Ramondre. But for me, just eye test film grade, Ramondre is as good as anyone in this class left. And we've seen him do it at the NFL level. So there's not the question of can he do it at the NFL. So I don't think it's a good idea for the Patriots to take a running back. Like I didn't think it was a good idea for them to take Genty. Like they really needed to address the trenches, protect your franchise quarterback, and get him some freaking weapons. And not just a running back. Like get him some players to pass to, which is why I think it makes way more sense to go Burden than it does Henderson. But again, NFL teams do stupid things all the time. So watch it be Travion Henderson right here.
I don't think,
I'm talking like I know football or something, right?
But
Or they already know the pick or something, you know. Watch it go through and they'll be like, really? What'd you know that we didn't know?
I'm going to tell you.
I know nothing, dude. I'm just an idiot. Here. Thanks, Geoff, for the platform.
I'm going to tell you here that Ramondre, have you had Ramondre in fantasy at all? Have you had that?
Well, yeah, somewhat. I think, yeah.
This past season?
No, I've avoided him these last couple of years, actually.
Yeah, so how can you say that you would rather have him than Travion Henderson? I would much rather have him.
I'm not talking from a fantasy perspective. I just think which running back do I think is better? I think Ramondre is a better running back based on his film, based on just his skill set. But, I mean, if Henderson goes early, I'd rather have him for fantasy than Ramondre. Like, I don't love Ramondre being on the Patriots because I don't think that's a great offense. Like, I'd much rather Ramondre be on a better offense, but I just think him as a player is better. But again, what do I know? I'm no NFL GM. They'll clearly there's probably decision makers, Topher, to be fair, that think Henderson's better than Ramondre. I'm sure that's probably the conventional opinion. I'm the crazy one going on.
Yeah. Well, I think we got someone over here trying to tell you.
You know what? Travion Henderson is the pick to the New England Patriots, 38 overall. 2 picks from Sean Judkins. So clearly the Patriots think he's better than Ramondre. Man, I'm happy I didn't try and trade Ramondre this offseason. Because I was tempted in one league to try and sell DeAndre Swift and try and get Ramondre back with the thought that the Bears might take Genty. I think there's no way the Patriots are taking Genty. And then when the Bears took Loveland, I went and I pulled every single Swift offer I had out. Like, nope, I'm holding them now.
Yep. That's smart. I think this is a great pick for New England. I think Henderson, they're clearly not nobody's impressed with Stevenson right now. Nobody's impressed with Gibbs right now. Like none of that. There's nothing going on in that backfield.
I think everyone's very impressed with Jameer.
I'm very impressed with Gibbs,
I meant Gibson. You knew what I meant.
I mean, you know what though? He's a Lion player, so no one's impressed with him. We hate the Lions.
Hey now.
Sorry, Ryan.
By the way, Mike Vrabel went to The Ohio State University.
Yep. That makes sense.
He's getting Jack Sawyer with his next pick then.
Yeah, maybe.
All right, guys, I got to bounce.
All right. Well, thank you, Ryan. It was a good hour and a half having you. And again, I love the Absolute Auction podcast. So if you want to let everyone know about the great format that is auction drafts, I think both of our opinions is the best way to draft. But,
yes. Yeah, I mean, if you guys are in any type of auction leagues, we just started doing Dynasty this off seasons to kind of transition into regular season. Regular season will kick off in about beginning of June, but like we go over everything. We go over strategies. We go over how to build a par sheet. We're gonna be looking at teams and seeing how players actually go. We're gonna be doing mock drafts. We're gonna have AAV, which is average auction values, which I already have for the Dynasty. We'll also have that coming out with redraft also. So be on the lookout for that. Absolute Auction Podcast. You can find it on YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't even mean to do that one on purpose that time either. I just meant that absolutely is usually my typical go-to fantasy thing. If someone finishes, I agree with, and I agree with it so much, I have no idea what else to say. So I just go to absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ryan.
Yep. Topher, Dylan, nice meeting you guys. Kyle,
Very
thanks
nice
again for having me
meeting you,
on.
All right. Thank you, Ryan. And yeah, thank you for these comments that keep coming in, even if it's mostly from Jamie, who's apparently starting to hate the Browns a little less now. I think he really likes we know he really likes the Judkins pick. The Browns only averaged 15 points last year, and Jamie's question is, now with Judkins, do you think they improve to at least 17 points per game?
I'm going 16. I'm going right in the middle.
So they could still draft a quarterback in the top 3 next year because they'll be there again with scoring 17 points per game. Because all this is great. Is Kenny Pickett their starting quarterback?
Yes. Kenny Pickett is their starting quarterback.
Or,
And Joe Flacco.
Let's think. Part of me thinks they just start Flacco. Like they see Pickett in practice and they think, yeah, he's not that good. We're just going to start Flacco. Right? Like I suppose if you absolutely want to tank, maybe it's better to play Pickett and you think, okay, we're either going with Pickett or he's leading us to our quarterback next year. So I
think it's
probably
the latter
Pickett
option.
for that reason.
I
but
think
if
it's the
they
latter
really
option.
want to win games, they saw it last year, 2 years ago, right? Like when they brought Flacco is the one that got them to the playoffs, and he looked pretty bad against the Texans that game, but that's okay. He at least got them to the playoffs, which is
Jamie. Flacco's not the starter. I want you to. Here's Jamie. Here's really what I want you to do to show. Have you seen that Browns jersey with somebody that has? I think it's a Tim Couch jersey, and then all of those names. I need you to get that as a back tattoo. I just need you to show your loyalty to the Browns by just getting an obnoxious list.
Now, the problem with that is you have to tattoo Deshaun Watson's name on your body.
And you don't have to. You can write something different. You can literally just put asterisks. You can put Voldemort. You can put whatever. You don't have to. You have to include the fact that he was there, but you don't have to include his name. I mean,
here's the thing. Voldemort is like this murdering psychopath wizard that like wants to rule the world and has like this like super kind of like almost racist agenda. Like Voldemort isn't that far from Hitler, and it feels like calling Deshaun Watson Voldemort's a huge insult to Voldemort.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Like I'd rather be called Voldemort than Deshaun Watson every day of the week and twice on Sundays. Thank you very much.
Yeah. All right. So we covered that.
Yep.
So yeah, now I guess with these Ohio State running backs, here we go. Oh man, I'm liking Colson Loveland a little less now that Luther Burden goes to the Chicago Bears.
What?
So
I'm like
twice
10
this
seconds behind
offseason
you then.
that the Packers don't take a player that they should, whether it's in free agency or the draft, and then the Bears end up getting them.
Who else?
Well, the center, Drew Dahlman.
Oh yeah.
I would have much rather, especially the contract he got relative to what Aaron Banks got paid. I would have much rather the Packers better that Bears offer by like $5 million, and you're still not paying him close to what you paid Aaron Banks, and you don't have to move Jenkins from his position where he's played the most in the NFL and he's dominated from.
Yeah.
And then
they're trying to make Caleb Williams get everything, but that's like having Burden as your wide receiver 3 is crazy. But oh my gosh! So ESPN has his comp player as DJ. No, sorry, NFL Network has his comp player as DJ Moore.
Wait a minute. And DJ Moore is wide receiver 1 for the Bears.
Yeah. So
they have a type.
By the way, By the way, the Bryce Young trade has now been finalized. That was the 39th pick was the last pick.
Okay. So now when it comes to fantasy, you can't trust the Bears. Why you can't trust the Bears player? Like, because there's so many.
Yeah,
Caleb Williams, best ball mania, DK millionaire winner.
I mean, that's the biggest fantasy winner. This is Caleb Williams. You just added 2 elite weapons to throw to him, and they've also upgraded the offensive line. Like, honestly, man, why couldn't the Bears do this for Justin Fields? Have this like unreal offseason instead of the patheticness that they had every offseason with Justin Fields.
That's fair. Oh, they're comparing Luther Burden to Jaden Reed right now on NFL Network.
That's
makes interesting.
A slot receiver who could do more than just be a slot receiver. The yards after the catch is great. I mean, I said like Reed was a better college producer than Golden. Burden was a better college producer than Reed. That's again, I had him as wide receiver 2 in the class, even ahead of Travis Hunter.
But if Reed and Burden are similar players, I can understand why Green Bay didn't go his way.
Well, again, I don't, because that's the type of player they want, right? Like, there's redundancy. Like, isn't Matthew Golden just what Dontavian Wicks is? I mean, he's faster, but they're gonna win in the same ways, essentially.
Yeah, but I mean, you also, these wide receivers are all in their 3rd and 4th year, right?
By the way, I kid you not. The first DK best ball team I drafted this year. You won't believe this. Quarterback Caleb Williams, wide receivers DJ Moore, Roma Duzé, and
Luther Burden.
Oh yeah, and the running backs and 2 of the Henderson was drafted by New England, right? Okay, and okay, yeah, that's sick.
And yes, I'm pretty sure Jamie did compare Burden to Reed on the podcast on the Dynasty 6.
There you go.
So are the Saints going to take Shedeur Sanders here?
I think that's the
rumblings, but
what's okay, so what are the Saints' options if they don't take a quarterback in the draft? Are they hoping that Carr doesn't get the surgery and he's fine? Are they signing Aaron Rodgers? Or are they just it's Spencer Rattler's season this year? Like
they've benched Spencer. I don't think they do that at all.
I just don't see how. Like, I'm shocked they didn't take Shedeur at 9 overall in the first round.
Well, the pick is in. The pick is in, so they're hugging each other. I don't know what it is, but
I'm pretty sure it's Shedeur. That would be my guess. But again, I thought Shedeur would. I thought they'd take him in the last round just because, like, for a team as cash strapped as the Saints, like they're the ones that need a rookie contract quarterback because they probably. Even if they wanted to go get a different quarterback next offseason, can they? Do they even have the money to afford to get even the back end starters? Like, could they even pay a quarterback $20 million, like the Justin Fields contract, the 2 years, $40 million? Can they even afford to pay a quarterback that?
Probably not.
So, like, Tyler Shuck.
How is that Shuck?
I don't know. I don't even think he's a good quarterback. Like. I know Jamie's talking about.
Can't even say his name right.
Jamie's talking about how like Shedeur is a bust. Like I think Shedeur is better than Tyler Shuck. But wow,
I'll tell you what, Chicago's going to be a nightmare to face this year.
Yeah. I've heard that every offseason of my life, Dylan. I'll believe it when I see it.
I must say, I don't know how Tyler Shaw is the 3rd quarterback in this draft. Like Tyler Shaw is older than what Trevor Lawrence. Tyler Shaw was in the same recruiting class as Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, I was gonna say they played high school football together, either as like state rivals or something.
Yeah, like crazy.
I can't remember where you had him ranked, Jamie. I thought you had him at 5. But I'm assuming you're gonna have him higher than 5 now. I mean, it's a good landing spot in the sense that like he's probably gonna get a chance to start right away.
Oh yeah, for him. Absolutely. That's a great landing spot for him as a person. 110%. I love it for him.
Well, I mean, we don't know that the NFL doesn't think Sanders is better than Shug. We know the Saints don't think that,
Yeah.
but I mean, every other team might think Shug is like awful, and they would never draft him, right? And they're just laughing. They're just laughing at the Saints for having taken him, right? They all might think Sanders is better. Like all 31 other teams might think Sanders is better than Shug. It's just this happened to be the team that didn't think that.
Shug is also really safe with the ball. He's had 6 or less interceptions in each of the last 5 seasons. So
I've had less than that though. Right? It's like it's something that few. Like how many pass attempts does he have? Right? Like
yeah.
Tyler Shaw was Justin Herbert's teammate in college.
Wow.
I mean, that's like what did we see recently? Ty Chandler is the first player to get a carry after Alvin Kamara was drafted. Like Kamara was the Tennessee lead running back at University of Tennessee, and then the very next season, the first carry went to Ty Chandler. And he got drafted how many years later after Kamara? So
wow.
We see some crazy stuff like that sometimes.
Yeah, that's true.
This was pretty crazy. And the Bills just traded up.
Oh my gosh.
Well, the Bills have 2 second-round picks.
Oh, so probably not anymore.
Well, honestly, it looks like they still have 3. Now they have 3 second-round picks. Like it looks like they didn't, unless it just hasn't been updated yet. I would think that they would, because they had the 56th pick and the 62nd pick. You figured they'd use one of those to trade up with the Bears. Are they giving up a future first and just give us your second Bears and something else? Like I'm curious to see what the details of this trade are.
Yes. What is it? Interesting.
Yes, very interesting.
Ooh, the Bills are 0-5 on playoff games on the road. That's tough. That is tough.
Yeah, that's what happens when they go to Kansas City.
That's true. Yeah, Bears receive 2 seconds and a 4th, and the Bills receive a 2nd, 3rd, and a 7th.
Wait, say it again.
So the Bills receive a 2nd, a 3rd, and a 7th. The Bears receive 2 seconds and a 4th.
Well, I've got to think.
Sorry, can you say that? Sorry, Dylan.
You know what? I have a feeling on who the Bills are drafting here. I'm going to take a wild swing. I think it might be the Marshall defensive lineman.
Oh, Mike Green. I love that guy.
Mike Green, the defensive line. The Bears want to get linemen, but there aren't any linemen here. The Bears want to get a running back, but there aren't any running backs here. I mean, I think
Caleb Johnson.
I think New England surprised Chicago and taking Travion Henderson.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, and I guess they had no other running. I mean, they clearly, because I know that the talk was there's 5 running backs, right? Caleb Johnson was right there with Judkins and Henderson. I didn't quite buy that, and it seems like the Bears clearly didn't think so either, because they could have easily taken Caleb Johnson if they really wanted him. Can you say the trade again, though, Topher? I didn't quite.
It was 2 seconds and a 3rd. No, 2 seconds and a 4th to the Bills, a 2nd, a 3rd, and a 7th to the. Sorry.
Okay.
I
do see. Yeah, the two Bills picks they had in the 2nd are both gone. So
so Bears.
Seconds. Okay.
Bears get 2nd, 4th. Bills get 2nd, 3rd, 7th.
Okay. So they move up, they lose 2 picks, then they get the if you order these picks that the Chicago and the Bears have, the Bills would get
1, 4, and 6. 1, 4, and 6.
Okay.
By the way, Mel Kiper's having an aneurysm tonight.
Didn't he? I thought he did last night too.
Yes.
I know Warren Sharp kind of criticized him for that, right? Like you're spending this whole time talking about the dude not drafted. Like talk about the guys that have been drafted.
Yeah.
Like, you're ruining their moment. So
I
don't know. I think Mel Kiper's kind of a joke, personally. Like I think he's just.
By the way,
I don't watch draft coverage. I watch
by the way,
fantasy football live streams during the draft, and I'll follow the draft tracker on NFL.com. But like to me, I've always always preferred fantasy football content to real NFL content because I feel like real NFL content, it's all just narrative stuff, guys yelling at each other. Like there's very little substance. I find the real good substance is from fantasy football content because, I mean, not all fantasy football content is good. Some of it's bad, but the really good content I think comes from fantasy because we're diving into the advanced analytics and trying to figure out edges in the game. Whereas you hear that 4-letter network, the talking heads on the main broadcasts, like they're just talking nonsense most of the time. Like there's no real football X and O's substance, even from like former NFL players that should be, but it's just these big networks. All they want is the drama. What's the drama narratives that we can sell? We don't actually want to talk about.
Buffalo gets South Carolina defensive tackle TJ Sanders.
Oh, they must really like him to trade up.
Clearly.
Yeah.
I was about to say the same thing.
Damn.
Thinking, was DT a spot of need?
I
If you're the Bills, like they didn't really have any needs. Like they had kind of everything set, maybe outside wide receiver. But
Yeah,
they were in a position. They're in a position all draft to just take the best players available.
Yeah. But to trade up when you are best player available,
especially having those 2 late seconds, like that gave you a bit of leverage that they were only 6 picks apart.
Yeah.
But clearly, this is a guy they preferred than really anyone they were expecting to get outside the top 50.
But do you guys remember when the Browns took Brandon Whedon in 2012?
Yeah.
That's a great comparison, Dylan. Is that what you're thinking with Tyler Shuck, the old guy? Because, I mean, they took Brandon Whedon over Russell Wilson. Like, could you imagine if they actually took the right pick? Like, they actually made a smart pick?
Yeah.
Not a former professional baseball player that was so old because he had a professional baseball career, then went to college as a quarterback. Like, it's wild. Like, why? And then you get this Super Bowl winning quarterback 3 years later that you could have had and you didn't take. Is that what this is going to be? Like, the Saints are going to look back. Shedeur Sanders is going to be so good at some point that, like, why didn't you just take Shedeur Sanders, right? Like, what were you thinking, New Orleans?
Yeah,
you can definitely see that type of thing happening. Arch Manning was the last QB the Saints drafted in the first 2 rounds of the draft.
Yeah.
And you know what? They're drafting Tyler Shuck to lead them to drafting Arch Manning next year.
Honestly, I don't get the Saints pick there. I mean, Shaw, he's 25. New Orleans not gonna get a full career from him. I'm like, I don't get it.
No,
that's just me.
No, I agree.
I don't think you're alone in that.
I mean,
I think
Milrose
it's just you.
I think Sanders is a better quarterback. I think Milrose is a better quarterback. I think Dylan Gabriel's a better quarterback. I think Curtis Rourke's a better quarterback. Like,
I think Robbie Leonard's a better quarterback, but that's just me.
Yes, I did too. I had him higher than Shuck in my rankings. So yeah, there's tons of other quarterbacks, and like, you know, Sanders you'd have to take there. But if you really didn't like Sanders, like, you could have waited around and you could have bolstered this team in a different way. I don't know. It is strange. Now, while we're waiting for picks, I think just take fantasy stock of what we've seen. I guess the quick one is with Quinshon Judkins on the Browns and Travion Henderson on the Patriots. Who do you prefer for Dynasty right now? Who do you think should go higher in Dynasty rookie drafts?
I
know it's that tough, right?
Good question.
I thought Henderson was a better prospect, but with Ramondre being there, I do view Judkins getting the better landing spot.
Is it half point or full point? Because if it's half point, I'm probably saying Judkins, even though Jerome Ford's including him. But full point, I may give it to Henderson.
Yeah, you expect the pass catching there. I would say, like, most Dynasty leagues I find are PPR. I tend to view the half PPR more in redraft leagues. So when I go Dynasty, I typically assume PPR. So I guess that answers that. It would be Henderson. I think I'm leaning Judd because I preferred Henderson as a prospect, but they were close enough that Jerome Ford is still there too, though, and he's not a scrub either.
I mean, but he's not great.
I mean, I do think Ramondre is better. And they've already, like, Ford is still in his rookie contract, so they haven't given them the long-term investment yet, whereas Ramondre, they've given him that second contract.
Yeah.
It's like Cole Kmet, though. They could probably get out of it if they really needed to.
Yeah.
My first lean is to raise Judkins ahead of Henderson in my rankings. That's my first instinct. And it's okay to be wrong sometimes, Jamie. I'm wrong most of the time. So I'm pretty okay with that, to be honest. Oh, and Jamie, he remembers so far back, he was so mad at the Whedon pick. He wanted DeCastro, which I assume is David DeCastro. Oh yeah, then the Steelers took him, and all pro level guard, like probably the best Steelers offensive lineman for a decade.
Yup.
Right, Jets are up. The pick is in, and we've got about 5 minutes left. I mean, in theory, you guys could stay on if you want. I mean, it's up to Brian, really. I think Brian Ford messaged in the Going for Two Live group chat or Twitter chat saying that anyone who wanted to join can stay. So if either of you want to stay, I mean, it's not my stream, so I have no control over it. But it also sounds like Brian will have no objections to it. But,
I'm gonna be good, but I've really enjoyed this. It's been fun.
The Jets are finally getting the tight end.
Ooh.
Well, they've tried this before. Jets tight end, wasteland. Well, I mean, Jeremy Ruckert and Chris Herndon and Zach Kuntz. He was so late that doesn't really count. But like, I mean, you've had that. Christopher Herndon's rookie season was great, but the rest of it was awful. And then you've had this last couple years of Conklin. But for the most part, tight end has been a complete wasteland for the Jets for the last. I mean, I've been playing fantasy since 2012, and other than I think 3 seasons out of those 13 years, you've had adequate tight end play again. And Henderson, we didn't even see it coming, right? He was a rookie, like no one expected it. So like all these great games, most people didn't even have him in their lineups or on their rosters. He might have had something with Conklin the last couple of years. He was coming from Minnesota where he earned targets and was better at earning targets with the Jets. But for the most part, it's been so awful. Here we go. Mason Taylor.
LSU, right? Yeah. I think he's an incredible prospect. Jason Taylor's son. Yeah, I think that
Zach Thomas's nephew, I think.
Yes.
Like Jason Taylor married Zach Thomas's sister.
Yeah.
Oh, Jamie got an exploding offer. I bet it's trash. It's hilarious. It's funny because you'd think the exploding offers would be the really good ones, not the really trash ones. You have this long to reject this complete trash offer.
Yeah, right?
Okay. I guess I'll just leave it then and let it expire because that's how little I care. That trash of an offer. No, I'll just auto reject. If I see a bad offer, I'm just rejecting. I don't even want to see it in my inbox anymore.
There you go.
I'd be a hypocrite because I hate when people don't respond to trade offers. Oh man, yeah, I saw the offer. I just wouldn't do it. That's why I left it. Well, then hit reject. It's so easy. Just hit the reject button.
This is literally
then I don't have to message you asking, "Hey, what do you think of this trade offer?" And you don't have to waste time answering me.
Yep. Absolutely.
103 for 108 and Calvin Ridley. I mean, I wouldn't call that a trash offer, Jamie. But I
wouldn't take it though.
No, I think, like I said, we were talking that conversation earlier. Like we get to 105, Travis Hunter. I'm having a really hard time after that. Like I think there's 5 really good picks: the 2 running backs, the 2 receivers, and Cam Ward. And that's it. Like I don't really love anyone else based on either landing spots or just. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I think you want to, I'm fine. I guess even as early as the 106 trading down, but I don't necessarily want to do that blindly either. Just with the thought what Ryan was mentioning earlier, Travis Hunter could fall further than he should. And so you might want to still have as early a pick as possible just in case. Like I'm thinking, man, he shouldn't fall any further than 105. Really, like I don't think he should fall further than 105, but he might. And so, you might think, 106 isn't going to be a good pick, but all it takes is one person making what you view as a suboptimal move for that pick to be good. So,
yep.
In theory, Travis Hunter could be there at 108, and if that's the case, like then you're actually probably okay doing this trade. You still get Hunter, which is probably as good of a player as to take at 103, and you get the extra free receiver. But just doing it blindly like this without knowing would be tough to do.
Yeah. Okay. It is 7:00. I am gonna hop off, gentlemen.
Okay.
So Thank you very much. I've enjoyed it a lot. Very nice to meet you, Dylan. And thank you again for asking me, Kyle. I really appreciate it. It's always fun to work with you.
Yeah, for sure. I'm looking forward to the season already and Sunday mornings potting with you.
Absolutely.
It's always a great. All right. Well, you take care. Enjoy the rest of the draft, and hopefully the Packers don't. Well, they made you happy so far, but hopefully they continue to make you happy.
I hope they make you happy. I hope they make you happy.
Eventually, they probably will. The odds are, but feels like they won't.
Yeah, they should just trade up for Will Johnson. That's what they need to do right now.
All right, take care, Topher. All right, and Dylan, we're going to bring in the next set of guests, or hosts, really, because we've got the fantastic Brian Ford taking over as the host. So, hi, Brian. Good to talk to you again.
Hey, what's happening? Can you hear me okay?
Oh, yeah, you're great.
Awesome. So, you enjoying yourself so far tonight?
Yes, absolutely. It's been super fun. Honestly, this 2 hours zoomed by. Like, it felt like I wanted to talk about the receivers. There's tons of stuff I want to talk about we didn't get to, so it's great. I know Geoff in the chat before make sure you have enough topics. And I always think at the draft, I always have tons of stuff to want to say without even really preparing it. Just reacting and seeing and never get to all of it.
Yeah, well, I'm doing okay because I thought the draft started at 8 tonight. So I had all this all right, yeah, the first few minutes we're going to talk about what happened night one, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Nope. We're dead smack in the middle of round 2. The 49ers just drafted defensive tackle Alfred Collins.
Yeah. Twitter is way ahead of wherever the heck I am on this draft tracker, but I don't care. Just Dynasty Twitter is going to be the death of me, I swear.
Anyway, technically this is the death of me for this stream, but I will be back tomorrow hosting the day 3 stream. I know, Dylan, you'll be joining me, I think, around 2 p.m. Eastern.
We'll see what time I join.
So actually, sorry, I was supposed to ask you if you wanted to join me at 2 p.m. Eastern, and I never did, and I just assumed I did. Would you like to join me around 2 p.m. Eastern?
Yeah.
But yeah, let me know. If there's a better time that works for you, of course, let me know. But yeah, I'll be starting that stream tomorrow at 12 noon. I'm planning to go for 4 hours, 12 to 4 p.m. Eastern. So we'll see you tomorrow, everyone. You're in great hands, though, because Brian is fantastic. So really looking forward. I'll probably join in this. I'll join Jamie in the chat eventually here. So
all right.
Keep up the great work, Brian.
All right. Take care, guys.
Yeah, see ya.
All right. Bringing in perhaps a familiar face to the millions and